Hello, I'm Claudia Alec, and I'm speaking to you shortly after having produced the first live stream for WeChargeGenocide.tv. And I'm speaking to you, my beloved theater community, whom I've been a part of for practically my entire life. We're close. I think I can just talk to you. So, do you remember a few years ago when I called you up on the phone and sent you a bunch of emails? I was on the founding steering committee for the Ghostlight Project. And we were asking you that because Trump had been elected during his inauguration, we were asking you if you could put a light out and make a statement saying you would stand up for marginalized people in the face of injustice, because we were kind of anticipating this happening. And many of you said you couldn't do it. You let me know that you really wish you could do it, but you were very concerned that you had a lot of donors and audience members that you totally were all for it, but your audience members and your donors and your board, they might not like it if you said that you would explicitly stand up for me and my rights. So you couldn't do it, and you were sorry, but you wish you could, but you couldn't. That's what I was told. And I remembered, and I paid attention. But my heart wasn't broken because I'd already heard that message from so many of you. Because a few years before that, I had gone to a bunch of you and said, hey, we're doing a project called Standing Rock Theater Action. And we're asking theaters to put a program insert just saying, what they're for and what they're against in terms of, supporting marginalized communities. And I was told, well, a lot of our money comes from paths that are tied up and profiting from the injustice and horror that are happening at Standing Rock. So we can't explicitly say that we're against that because that would impact our bottom line. I found this out years ago, and I didn't tell anyone. I didn't tell you which artistic leader, which theater, which companies let me know. Because I kind of already knew, because a few years before that, I produced this thing called the Every 28 Hours Plays. And I tried to produce projects that have the lowest bar of entry. When they're social justice projects, I want to make them so accessible, anyone, regardless of their capacity, regardless of their resources, they can make a contribution that will have value. And I found out that there were a lot of theaters that had huge resources that were not willing to contribute anything. Now, it was because they were like, yeah, it's really wrong that bad thing happens in the world. But we need to stay in our lane. I heard this from a lot of theater makers, that they didn't feel like it was their lane. And, they were like, well, that's your lane. So we're going to leave that labor to you Black people. And I didn't say who told me that. I did not refuse to work with the institutions that told me that. I have stories that keep going back in time. I kept working with all of these companies and theaters because that was the field. I am hoping that in this moment of reckoning, of accountability, that we can create a new field where I can have higher expectations. Because right now I see a lot of theaters publishing posts of solidarity and sympathy. And while I appreciate them and think that they are necessary, I also recognize they're the bare minimum. And I experienced the magnificent pincher pause of days, of weeks, of the time it took for them to not only craft the text, but decide if they had the willingness to publish it. I have been in the rooms where people wrung their hands and thought very hard about how explicitly they could publicly be against white supremacy culture without harming their bottom line. I look forward to the day when I can have higher expectations for my theater field, my beautiful theater field, and my beautiful theater community. I look forward to the day when I can expect more of you? And I look forward to having a new field. Let's make a new field.